Welcome to this explainer. Look, today we're diving into something deeply personal and often completely misunderstood, the hidden realities of depression. If you've been struggling lately, I really want you to pay close attention to what we cover today, because we're going to clearly explain why you absolutely must stop blaming yourself for what you simply cannot do right now. This isn't about a lack of willpower, guys. And by the end of our time together, you'll see exactly why letting go of that guilt is the very first real step toward healing.
I want to speak directly to you right now, especially if you're sitting there feeling this crushing weight of guilt because you just can't function the way you used to. It's so common to look in the mirror and think, man, what is wrong with me? Have I just become completely useless? But honestly, that immense self-blame isn't just a reaction. It's literally one of the most painful, invisible layers of the condition itself. It's a cruel trick your mind plays when it's running on empty. Think about the sheer shock of it. You've got this massive, agonizing gap, right? On one side, there's the highly capable person you used to be, the one handling a million complex tasks with high energy and sharp focus. And on the other side, the struggling person you are right now who feels utterly wiped out by noon and just needs to lie down constantly. It's like a night and day difference. That stark contrast brings a profound, unique kind of grief for the self you feel like you've lost. But here is our core mantra for today's explainer, so please hear this. This gap is not laziness. No way. It is a very real, documented medical symptom.
So let's dive into section 1. Work and internal energy are robbed.
When depression hits, it's like someone literally unplugs your internal battery. Your brain's executive function takes a massive hit. This means you might experience a sharp, honestly confusing drop in your daily performance. You might find yourself completely unable to study for that promotion at work, or even set the tiniest new goals. But it's not just about ambition, it's a total depletion of emotional endurance. You might find yourself suddenly snapping at the smallest things, or instantly complaining when you're inconvenienced. And sure, people around you might completely misunderstand this. They might think, oh, they're just being selfish or lack willpower. But the reality, your emotional endurance has literally vanished because of the biology of the illness. Picture this. Imagine a super active salesperson. Someone who used to thrive out in the fields all day, charming clients, closing big deals. Then, suddenly, they find it absolutely agonizing to just read a simple text message or track some basic numbers on a spreadsheet. The cognitive load just becomes way too much to handle. If you were once a top performer and now even opening an email feels like physical torture, please know this. It's the absolute hallmark of a brain under severe neurochemical stress. It's not some sudden flaw in your character. Moving right along, let's look at section 2, daily life and family collapse. This lack of internal energy, it sets off a devastating domino effect at home. Your daily routine completely falls apart. We're talking breaking promises, canceling important plans at the very last minute, and yeah, even skipping basic personal hygiene like showering or brushing your teeth. The energy for basic cooking just vanishes. You can't even brainstorm a menu, let alone stand in the kitchen and actually chop a vegetable. And man, the financial toll is real too. You end up watching your hard-earned savings drain away because, honestly, you can only manage to order expensive takeout just to survive the day. Now, as you can imagine, this creates terrible friction at home. To any family members watching this explainer right now, saying something to a struggling spouse like, hey, since you're just lounging at home, at least cook some food. Wow, that is deeply, deeply agonizing for them to hear. They aren't lounging. They are internally battling an illness that has completely hijacked their physical and mental strength to do even the smallest household chores. On the outside, yeah, it might look calm, but on the inside, it's a state of total system failure. And this exhaustion inevitably bleeds into parenting, which brings us to a particularly heartbreaking symptom. We see postpartum mothers yelling at their kids, instantly regretting it, but biologically unable to rein in that emotional response, or fathers just staring blankly at their phones, completely ignoring their family on a weekend, desperate for some kind of sensory detachment. Why does this happen? Well, kids are inherently unpredictable, right? And for a mind suffering from depression, unpredictability requires a level of cognitive energy that simply isn't there anymore. It becomes this impossibly heavy burden. I'm going to say it again. This is a painful symptom of an illness. It is not a sign that you're a bad parent. All right, let's head into section 3, joy and social connections disappear. This one hits hard. There is a profound shift in how you experience joy. You might have had a huge passion before, obsessing over pop idols, passionately binge-watching TV series, or just deeply loving music. But now, all that vibrant engagement is replaced by total, heavy apathy. The dopamine pathways in your brain just aren't firing. You suddenly feel absolutely nothing for the things you used to love. And even worse, you might actually look back at those hobbies and feel bitter regret, thinking, wow, that was just a massive waste of money and energy that I can't get back. And it's not just hobbies, it's the people you love, too. You might desperately crave connection and absolutely hate the terrible isolation you're feeling. But forcing yourself to attend a social event, even just a simple friendly dinner with people who truly care about you, requires you to put on this heavy, suffocating mask. Faking that smile, forcing the laughs, pretending to be totally fine, it will completely wipe out your physical and mental battery. Actually, it's so draining that it often leaves people totally bedridden for days afterward just to recover from the sheer sensory overload of a single meal. Now, this brings us to section 4, the reframe. It is a symptom, not laziness. Okay, we need to completely reframe how we look at this. This inability to function that we've been talking about, it is strictly a medical symptom of depression. It requires targeted treatment, immense patience, and serious, unapologetic rest. It is absolutely not a sign of a damaged character, or a moral failing, or a lack of willpower. You haven't magically become a pathetic or useless person. Your inability to do these everyday things is literally just the clinical manifestation of your illness. It's exactly like how a fever is a manifestation of the flu. You simply cannot just push through it. Think about it like this. If you have a nasty cold and you force yourself to work through it, completely ignoring your body screaming for rest, what happens? You end up with severe pneumonia, right? The exact same biological logic applies to your mental health. Fighting against your depression by forcing yourself to be productive or relentlessly masking your pain just to make other people comfortable is only going to deeply complicate and drastically worsen your symptoms.
So that brings us to our final and honestly most important question today. Will you finally find the courage to stop blaming yourself and just allow yourself to do nothing? The absolute fastest shortcut to recovery is radical acceptance. It's accepting your current temporary limitations, explaining them clearly to your loved ones so they get that it's a valid medical condition, and bravely choosing to rest without a single ounce of guilt. If you take away anything from this explainer today, let it be the permission to finally forgive yourself. Put down that heavy burden of expectations and just let yourself heal.